Hey, how's it going? Mike here. This afternoon I'm going to modify my UPS. So this UPS powers my router, XR500 router, and there's a modem behind it in bridge mode to the router. And what else have we got in here? The link stock, which is recently installed, which is now cruising away. So that's also powered by the UPS. And the UPS plugs into this power board. So there's a spare one behind there. So, talks of blackouts in Australia, I've thought, well, this UPS lasts about an hour. That was before I had my link stock plugged in. So tonight I'm going to upgrade it so we can add some more batteries to it and get some better runtime. So let's hop to it and unplug it. It's a big mess in here. And off goes the internet. Alright, quickly bypass it. There you go, that way we keep mining. Oh, that's a bit floppy, that antenna. That's alright. Yeah, just leave it like that for now. Alright, so let's go into the shed and get some more batteries in this thing. Alrighty, so for this project, we need the UPS, some 6mm cable, which is just regular electrical cable. We didn't have any other cable around. It's multi-stranded, so it's fine. Some connectors to plug the new batteries on, and 2 batteries. So we're going to open up the UPS. So my plan is to add I don't really want to ruin the front of it. Maybe I'll put it on the side. So I want to add one of these connectors onto this. I've seen people add them on the front, but maybe we'll add it on the back. We'll see if there's room. Yeah, not really. We've got the reset button there. Power in. Maybe we'll add it on the top. I think we'll do that. It'll be nice and clean. We'll add it. See if we can add it around here. So we'll just open the UPS up, have a look inside, and go from there. Okay, so first we're going to take the battery out. Which I'm interested to see how good this battery is anyway. It's been in there for about 2 years now. Yeah, like I said, the runtime's alright, but I don't know. A bit better, longer will be better. We got Panasonic, sweet. Alright, get the meter out. To the 2 decimal point range, and we have got 13.4 volt. Yeah, that's pretty good. Best way to test these I find is just put them on a heavy load, like literally just put like a 55 watt globe onto them for a minute, and if the power drops down below about 12.2 volt, then it's no good. I'm actually working on my own battery tester, which I'm hoping to actually have up for sale. So it actually properly, I'm not going to reveal exactly how it works, but it accurately tests exactly the amp hour capacity of a battery rather than using calculations and other tricks that the ones in the market do. So yeah, so this is actually off an old Diebold ATM, which I got for free along with a whole heap of other ones. So anyway, let's grab a screwdriver and we'll start unscrewing it. Okay, so I'm just going to start with the screws that are visible, which are these 2 here. That just comes off. Break it off, yeah. Oh yeah, just clicks out like that. Up the top there, it's just clicked in. And all the wiring come out. Just want to be careful. I don't recommend you ever open anything, and I'm not recommending anyone opens anything as far as this video is concerned. But yeah, things that you don't, I was trying to think how to word this. Don't do it. But when I do it, I make sure that I do not put my hand on the back of the PCB where capacitors are, because those things will literally burn holes in your hands, especially if you've got a gold ring and it touches that. It's not good for you. So it looks like it opens up from the side. So anyway, this is just, I'm showing you what I'm doing. I'm not recommending that you do this, nor will I answer any questions about anyone doing this themselves, because I don't recommend it. But this is just what I'm doing because I want more runtime, and I don't want to pay the amount of, you have to pay for a corporate, not corporate, what do they call it, server level UPS. Okay, so we've got, unfortunately that's kind of where I wanted to sit the batteries on top, and there's a vent there, so I probably want to avoid sitting stuff on that. The battery goes behind there. This is a little trickier than I was thinking. Okay, so I've decided I'm going to make the wires come at the back here, because there's a blank area for that. And yeah, there's a connector there, the wires, blah blah blah. We probably, if there's enough room, we could probably take the wires off the back of this PCB, run it around and up to the back. Alright, just going to do some checks and then I'll get back to it. So I'm just having a sniff around the board, and I've noticed that there's two 30-amp fuses for the battery. So I don't have fuses or a fuse holder. I can make a poor man's fuse holder, but because it's going to be exposed on the outside of the UPS case, I really don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do for now is just run the wiring out, plug in those batteries, and make my own fuses later on. Plug, connect in line with the new batteries. So yeah, I'm just going to solder the wires to the back of where the existing ones are, here and here. So yeah, let's get to it. Alright, just going to strip the wires back. So we only need the red and the black. Look at, they put like a chalk on the cable. It's hard to try and grip onto it, but we'll get it done. Oh damn, that's tough. So yeah, this is a 6mm cable. I wouldn't go any thinner than this. It's probably going to get warm as it is, but as with everything, I'll always test it under load with my with my trusty, oh god, what's the thing called? I'm losing my memory. Thermal camera. That's it. So what I'll do is I'll run it under full load once it's all set up with the thermal camera. Make sure it's all good. That wiring actually looks bigger. 6mm, or it might be the same. Probably a thinner insulator on the original wiring. It's a thicker insulator on that. Anyway, let's get the soldering iron fired up and get these wires on. So while I'm waiting for the soldering iron to warm up, I was just looking at these connectors. I'm not sure how they're going to go with the current rating. So if there's 60 amps of fuses on there, obviously that's going to be the peak. I don't know what the maximum draw of the battery would be. We'll say 50 to be safe. So 50 divided by 3 is like what? 13 odd amp per battery. And I reckon this connector's only rated for about 10. Well, I don't even know if I'd put 10 through. Oh, yeah, it might be right for 10 amp. I don't know. It's not gold plated though. But the safe way to do it, which is why I'm doing it, I'm not recommending you do it, is use that thermal camera so you can actually see it's getting hot. It's at maximum current. If it's not warming up much or at all, that's a good thing. If obviously it gets too hot. General rule of thumb is too hot to touch is too hot. So let's get some solder on these wires. So yeah, I'm going to use that connector. No, you can't see me. I'll use that connector, and if it's no good, then I'll change it to a heavier one. Maybe those, what do they call them? Anderson. I was going to put an Anderson connector in. I don't know why I decided against it. I'll probably end up putting one of those on. It's getting plenty of solder. Make sure these wires are well coated. Alright. Alright, that's a chunk of solder on there, and the positive side. I might put the, it's a bit chunkier that side, so I'll do it there instead. Get a bit of heat into it. Get that ball off. Alright, so the wires. This is kind of, this soldering iron is borderline capable of doing this kind of heavier soldering. I think it's about 60 watts or something. So be careful too, the path that wire takes. If that gets hot, I don't want it shorting along anything, so it looks like a pretty safe path just along there. But I'll probably put some high temperature tape in between the wire and the board, just so that if things do get hot, it's not going to short out on anything. Let's give a few seconds for that heat to get into it. Let's turn my soldering iron up. Should we go? We'll go 400. Usually solder about 320-ish. I find this cold weather doesn't really help either. It's currently about 10 degrees in my shed at the moment. Come on, this is taking forever. Alright, let's do it there. I can see the solder starting to melt a bit better. Problem is this camera's in the way, which doesn't help things. So make sure there's a good physical connection in there, because if there's not, it's going to overheat and melt. Let's get a bit of solder in there. It's There we go. Now it's starting to go. Oh, and the wire's too hot to touch. Alright, that looks better. Nice chunky solder on there. Alright, next wire. This is a pain in the butt, heavy wire. Alright, we're going to do this about there. So do it right over that part of the fuse. It's plenty of physical material to let current flow through. I mean, this thing's... With this UPS, I'm more after runtime than actual capacity. So, I mean, these things aren't... Yeah, it's not even going to... Yeah, it's like fuel tanks in a car. You're adding bigger fuel tanks, but you're not necessarily drawing more fuel out of those tanks. You're only drawing a small amount of fuel. So that's what we're going for as capacity. So I'm not too overly worried about high current. Although this will be perfectly safe just in case I do decide to use it something else in the future. Let's get that bottom bit warmed up. Get some solder into there. The main thing you want to do is make sure you don't short anything out, especially when those batteries are connected. And there we go. That'll do. That's a pretty good connection. Trying to focus, which the phone doesn't like doing. So there's some pretty chunky connections. Alright, so I'm just going to get some other bits ready and we'll continue. I had to change of plans. I noticed that I don't use the data port for anything. Actually, that's for the USB, but it's not even supported. This UPS doesn't even support... Actually, I could probably take that out. Yeah, let's do that. Then I don't have to desolder anything from the board. So what I've just noticed is I don't use these on the back of the board, so yeah, we can just unplug that. That's just got earth. A couple of MOVs there to absorb. Oh, of course it's a lightning arrestor or whatever. Now let's get a bit of screwdriver. So yeah, these things are called MOVs, metal oxide varistors. They absorb high voltages and lightning. The better ones have 3 different sizes. Yeah, it's alright. Let's get those out. So we've got some clips in there. Or just break them off, don't really even need them. And clip it anyway. There we go. So get rid of that. And run the wires directly through there. Actually, we could even... actually, that almost looks like a best size for an Anderson. I wish I'd gotten an Anderson connector now, because that would have been much better. But we'll just run the wires out. So there's plenty of length. I'll probably run about 5 centimeters outside of that, so that when I do go to an Anderson connector, I've got enough spare wire. So I'm not adding wire on wire. Alright. So, alright, so just put the wires through the hole. And I'm just going to cable tie this earth connector out of the way, because I don't like earth connectors floating around power. I mean, it will only trip the earth leakage, but it's something I don't want to happen. So let's just cable tie that guy out of the way. As such. Alright, now I have got, I forget the name of this tape. Teflon tape? No, not Teflon tape. High temperature tape. So use this in any application where it's going to get really, really hot. I think it's rated to, I don't know, a couple hundred degrees or something. Be fine for this task. So let's just lift that wire up a bit. Put some there. Oops. Getting the tape everywhere. Bloody hell. This tape doesn't feel the greatest, it's getting a bit old. So should be right. Problem with this electrical wire that I've chosen, it's not very flexible, so moving it around is a bit of a pain in the backside. Anyway, they'll go on there. And like I said, I don't think this is going to get hot, but what you got to take into account is if things aren't normal. So if I die and this thing gets auctioned off and someone tries to run something stupid off of it and it gets really hot, last thing you want is catch you on fire. So on the connections, we're going to stick some liquid electrical tape, which again I haven't used for a while. Useless. Oh, it's black. It's like somehow it's gone clear. Sticky crap. There we go. That'll do. It's like snot. Come on, get on there. Yeah, I think I need another tube of this. I need to throw it out after I do this. Come on, stick on. Short everything out while I do it. I checked it before off camera to make sure there's no capacitors that were charged, and they're all cool. So there we go, that'll do. Chuck that tube out, because it's no good. So there we go. Bit of tape under there. It's not a lot, but like I said, I'm not really worried about wires aren't going to get hot. I'm more worried about what's going to get hot in the PCB. The MOSFETs are behind there on a big heatsink. So that's away from where that's going to be anyway. Just make sure nothing's sharp. It's a bit of a sharp thing there. Yeah, it should be right. I'm not going to put too much pressure on it anyway. Alright, let's get it back together. Quickly note too, I'd already done it to this one, but I've previously removed the buzzer because I hate UPSs that sit there going beep, beep, beep in the middle of the night. Because it's in the hallway cupboard, my wife drives my wife nuts, and she turn that beeping thing off. There's a blackout, so already buzzer free. So I had a little change of plans. Turns out I couldn't fit, there's just not enough of a gap to fit the wires up here, twist it under and out through that hole, and it would cause this not to line up with the rear edge. So I didn't want to do a dodgy job and just force it. So the only way I've kind of worked out to reroute the wires is around the transformer, unfortunately. Now the reason I'm a bit weary about that is because the transformer gets pretty hot. So I mean it's stuff that insulates it is pretty good, and 240 volt wiring generally has pretty good quality plastic on the wiring, so I'm not overly worried. But yeah, I'm going to revisit. I'm going to probably do this for now, but I'm definitely going to revisit this in the future and do a better job. So anyway, let's get it back together. The transformer holder's in the way, so you have to pull it out a little. This is not turning into a quick and easy job like I was hoping. Yes, it's gonna sit. No, man. That's what I hate about heavy gauge wires. They're so hard to maneuver. This board clips into there and there, but it's hard to move it when you can't get to it. Let's see if we can push that board down. Yeah, see, I can see what's happening though. I can't get this board down because the wires have just got too much height to them. At least it routes properly now, but I'm still not happy with this. Maybe I should just abort and come up with a different strategy. You could make a box that sits on the bottom of it, extends these, but then you kind of potentially lose that space for a battery. So I want 3 batteries. Triple the runtime. Anyway, the phone's going flat. So I might just sort this out off camera. Be right back. Alright, so I just looked at this from a different angle and I realised that what's holding it back is these plastic ribs. So I'm just going to trim those ribs out. And we should be good. Cut you, and I'll cut you. Time to cut. So much cutting we can do. Yeah, cut you all out. Look at that. Now we can put those wires down flat. It's better. Oh, look at that. It even sits where it's meant to. Which is somewhere around there. There we go. Right there. There's enough space for the wires. Everyone's happy. I wonder if I should do the same for there. I think I will. Just make it a little bit nicer to get through. And do it here too. There's all this strength, but for what? Should probably like put a fan in this too. I've actually got a fan on my other UPS over there on the bench that is incredibly dodgy looking with its, what was it, 3 or 4, 5 batteries hanging off of it. That's the power. It doesn't, ironically, doesn't power my miners. It powers everything else in the shed. All right. As you can see, that's routed much nicer. So let's clip that on. Yeah, no. The skin's stuck now. Let's see. Oh, they make them so tight. Just put it back together. See, look at that. It's like the transformer's in the way. You gotta like move the transformer in an angle and push forward to get it back in properly. So they do it just to mess with people who pull it apart, if they ever do. Alright, that's looking better. We can put this on. It doesn't line up. Let's go on now. You popped out of place there. That's alright. Clip you back in. Oh, look at that. Board clips in. Where do I put the screws? Yeah, right there and there. Alright. It's like silicone grease in my screwdriver, so it's all like, ugh. It's like a bad grip on it. Alright, so when you power this up, short the two ends out, bang, and blow your power supply. Yeah, we definitely won't be doing that. Actually, what would it blow? Because it charges the batteries when it's offline. Alright, so there we are. We've got a UPS with 2 dodgy wires hanging out the back. So I've got one battery there. Another battery there. Maybe we'll just do one battery for now. It looks a bit dangerous. Or we can put the batteries underneath. Like that. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. These batteries don't have to go upright. Actually, that's pretty better like that. Let's do it that way. Have we got enough wire? Oh, I should have... Anyway, hindsight's a great thing. But at least this way, I can unplug the batteries if need be. And I've still got the original battery in here, so it's 3 batteries. So shall we? No, we will not plug the internal battery in yet till we've done this. Let's run it like that. Should use some of those sticky things to stick on the side here. And like that. This one's going to cross over that way. And the other one's going to cross over that way. There we go, that's not bad. It's actually kind of dodgy, but it's not terrible. I've seen worse things done on the internet. There we go. Let's get some connectors and solder them up. Okay, so I almost couldn't find any spade connectors, but then I realised I'm into cars as well. So I looked in my car toolboxes and found a heap of spade connectors. There we go. 4 as well, just the right number. How's that? So, I don't even know if I'm going to use that dual connector thing I got from Super Cheap before. Might just wait, do it directly, and use a Anderson connector here, bolt it onto the side here so I can run them that way, and put some fuses on these as well. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. So anyway, let's, oh crap. I'm trying to fit the wire into that. Oh man, projects always take longer than you anticipate. Yeah, that's not going to fit in there. Let's have a look. Jeez, didn't do a very good job of that. Yeah, they ain't fitting in there easily anyway. Alright, so what are we going to do? Let's... I don't want to do anything too dodgy. I'll have to do a loop. Yeah, maybe like an S loop. And probably have to tee off. There's no way I'm going to fit one in there and then one out. I have to get some more wire. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll do like a Y junction. Okay, so what we're going to do with these connectors, if I can find my cutters, in my pocket, and nibble that plastic off. It's like a hard plastic. Be careful not to damage the metal underneath, which I've already squashed at one point. Damn, this is annoying. It's tough stuff. Alright, this is going to be boring to do, boring to watch. So all I'm going to do, strip this part of the plastic off so I can stick as much of that wire in as possible. And then get a heap of solder in there to make a really nice connection. So I'm just going to get that done and we'll be right back. Okay, so this is the last of them. So ended up finding the easiest way to get it was to nibble around the base and then cut firmly in one line. Then pull them off with little needle pliers. Yeah. So anyway, just gonna. Oh man, the other ones came off so easy. Yeah, good enough. There you go. So now I'm just gonna cut the wires into a Y. So there's enough wire to have one go here, one go here, and get them soldered. Heat shrink. Very tedious doing this. Tricky to get enough heat in there. Usually I run a heat gun over heavy cabling first, but I don't know. I find if you just turn the soldering iron up a bit hotter than normal, usually does good enough. Duh. Of course it's going to be hot. Just checking the other side. Oh, it's out of view of the camera, sorry. So look, making sure the solder's kind of gone through all nicely, which it has. Put the cap on. Actually, I might do it once it cools down. Alright, so one there. Another one. Let's get another one of those boots. It's like these heat shrink cap things with glue in it. It's the only ones I had big enough to cover 2 of those wires. Otherwise, I had ones that were too small or way too big. That's alright. That was smart, just undid my imperfect connection. Stick it back in. Get bits of copper interlocking. Okay. Actually, let's do it the other way. I'm going to use the heat gun. Alright, fire up the heat gun. Temperature, let's get a 400. 380. 380. Turn the fan up. Slightly more messy. Just be careful I don't go that way, it's going to melt the. Let's just keep on there. That's right. So what we'll do is just put a little bit of solder on there. like a tack weld. I'll squash it because it's a little bit spaced. Ouch, and I did it again. And you know what? Go back to the old soldering iron because it's just easier. Run that soldering. At least there's still a bit of heat in the wire. So when you're soldering high current wires, you just want to make sure there's plenty of physical connection between the wires in the form of solder. Last thing you want is hot spots and melting, or things catching on fire. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. So yeah, just chuck the heat shrink tubes over there and melt them and shrink it into position. These heat shrink things are kind of weird. They're like hard plastic. Let's get it over there. Make sure there's a few mils on each side. Yeah. Okay. Heat gun. I probably should have taken that off. It's better. Done. Alright, so it's looking alright. Now we need to put a heat shrink. So yeah, that fits. So what I'm going to do is cut a couple of these copper conductors off, put it in there and solder it. So it's going to solder in there even where I've cut it. So it's going to allow a good amount of current to flow through that. So I should find some heat shrink. That'll do. Oh, this is more of that glue stuff. Hang on. Where's the normal stuff? There we go. That'll do. Yep. Yeah, how many of these do we have to take off? 1, 2, 3. Four. That leaves that 3 in there, which is not very much. It's alright, maybe we can come up with a workaround. Geez, won't even fit 3. Two? Oh no, 3's going in. Just. Probably twist it. Then we'll put these back around the outside. Oh, you bugger. I forgot to put the heat shrink on first. Oh well, look at that. That wasn't hard. I hope that heat shrink doesn't shrink while I'm soldering, which it probably will, but let's see what we can do. So cut a couple of these, but all these don't really need to be there anyway. We cut 2 off. 1 in there, 2 on the outside, just squash it. Yeah, a bit shonky, but she'll be right. Oh, I turned my soldering iron off. Let's turn it back on. So I usually have music playing in the background when I do this, but YouTube doesn't like it. A couple of videos I did that, so I just have to sit in silence and watch this lovely soldering. Soldering iron's heating up. 280, 290, 300. Cranking the temperature up again just to get that heat into the metal. It's probably going to screw my tip up, but plenty there. There we go. Actually, what I'm going to do is the heat gun to get some heat into that. I'll put the tip there. Just because it's so cold. I mean, it's 10 degrees in here. If this can get the heat out of it a bit, we can finish off with the soldering iron. Look at that. Not a real fan of crimp connections. They're just, I don't know, they're just dodgy. I've seen too many crimp connections fail over the years. I just don't trust. I always solder everything. I'm about to lose that solder. Yeah, just as I thought, the heat shrink is starting to set or shrink. What did I say? Set. Bloody COVID brain. Alright, I want to cool that down quickly, so I'm going to use some canned air. Better. Now, there's my little blade. Oh, where's it gone? I don't want to get another one. There it is. Carefully cut this heat shrink without cutting the wire. Yeah, stick that nice and snug over there. Mr. Heat Gun. There we go. I might actually do another layer of heat shrink. So I'm just going to do all 4 of these off camera so we can move on. Crap. Soldering iron just fell down. Oh man. Okay, so up to the last connection. It's going to show you a trick. You can't get the heat shrink on there. Just get some pointy nose pliers and stretch it out. Sometimes you just don't quite have the right size of heat shrink. Yeah, and fits on beautifully. Like so. And we get the heat gun out. And last one. After this we can finally connect them all up. Hopefully it doesn't catch on fire. If it does, well, we'll have to get another UPS thing, won't we? Modify that one, and that one will catch fire. I'll be alright. Touch wood, I've never had anything catch fire. Alright, looks nice. Okay, so before... Oh, this is going to be tricky. Oh, no, it should be alright. They're not going to touch... I usually design... Well, not design, but I set it up so that if these accidentally brush against each other, they're not going to short out. So I usually have a bit of overhang via the heat shrink. Actually, I'll do it with the positive terminals. Anyway, just going to stretch out this heat shrink a bit. They're pretty good anyway, these ones, in terms of like a bit of a plastic lip, but still like to be safer rather than sorry. Alright, so there's a nice lip on there. I just realised I can't actually see what I'm doing. It's the lip, so when we shrink that. We create a bit of a protective lip around the terminal there. Yep, as such. So that way it's on the outside edge is like heat shrink. So if it brushes against something, it's less likely to arc from mucking around with it one day, swapping batteries around. Right, stretch that one out. it's started to retract. That's it. Probably a little bit too much, that one. But that's alright, we just trim it with a knife, it's no big deal. That's alright, as long as the spade can get in there without the plastic kind of getting in the way. Beauty. Alright, is this going to blow up when I put the battery back in? Let's find out. Alright, we shall put that on first. Yep. No spark, that's good. Battery door on. Alright, now how are we going to do these batteries? Oh damn, these things are heavy. This is going to be damn heavy when I pick it up too, I just realised. Alright, let's change the... Alright, spark test on the external battery. Oh, what do you know? I didn't really shape that wire before, it's alright. Battery number 2. Yep, looking good. Oh, I hate this wire. It's so annoying to work with. There we go. So there's our modified UPS. Not bad. I might there's a plastic thing over there. I doubt it's going to arc out and anything. There's nothing metallic up in the shed anyway. I'll just get some of that crappy tape and peel it around, I think. Let's just do that. That way we can put it up in one hit. Knife has gone under the battery. Okay. That was a bit of a barrier, just in case. Usually I use Nitto electrical tape, but this stuff will do just for getting something basic up and running. No burning smells. So this is only like a 350 odd watt UPS anyway. 350 volt out. I'm pretty sure it's 350. Alright, that's really unstable, but you know, we can address that later. Now, will it turn on? Yeah, it looks like it's on to me. On battery. Yeah, it's no beeping because I removed the speaker. Let's turn it off. Alright, let's go install it in the hallway cupboard. Okay, so here it is all installed back in the cupboard. I've got it on an angle so I can see the battery terminals, everything through the thermal camera, which it's all currently cold. All the heat's coming from the router there. So I'm just going to unplug it and do a test. There you go. So I'll just leave that for 10 minutes and then we'll come back with the camera and see if there's any heat to be concerned of around those connections. Okay, so she's been running for 30 minutes now. It doesn't even feel warm. None of the connections or wires feel warm. You're not going to get electrocuted. Especially that. Oops. And let's have a look at the thermal camera. Bit of warmth there. It's probably the transformer. What's that, 28 degrees? That's not bad. Batteries down there. A little bit of warmth, 25. Front of it is 22. So it's only a couple of degrees. It's not bad at all. Cool. So it hasn't caught fire. It's running only, what's that, 7 degrees above ambient. I mean, it's not drawing much power. It's maybe 50 watts. So anyway, I don't recommend you do this. I'm just showing you what I did. So counteract blackouts, rolling blackouts that they're looking to introduce due to gas prices, and I don't know, somehow they shutting the gas power stations off for an hour or two a day is going to fix everything. So yeah, that's that. And I'll catch you later.